Evacuations, closures, and questions tonight about the action that crews took as two massive wildfires raged across the Grand Canyon National Park over the weekend.
The Dragon Bravo and the White Sage fires are just 35 miles apart, combining for over 50,000 acres burned. Welcome to 12 News at 6. I'm Kariba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. These fires at the Grand Canyon are getting national attention for the mass destruction and widespread evacuations.
12 News journalist Joe Dana is live from the South Rim with more details on the dramatic events from this weekend that got us to this point. Joe?
You would normally see the iconic oranges and reds of the Grand Canyon behind me just beyond that ridge, but of course right now it's a blanket of white, the smoke from both of these fires burning here. 11 miles to the north of us is where the Dragon Bravo fire is burning. Now, it's more of a story of location rather than acreage burn. It's, just over 5,000 acres. But on Friday and Saturday, strong winds and dry fuels caused that fire to overrun the North Rim complex of cabins and buildings there, more than 60. Here on the South Rim, tourism continues, though hiking trails into the canyon are limited. You're about to hear from two travelers who have altered their plans but still made the trip here to the smoky South Rim, and one woman who, believe it or not, hiked to the bottom, was planning to camp, then told she needed to be evacuated out just 3 hours later by helicopter. There were worries about the fire burning up chlorine gas tanks and sending gas fumes through the canyon.
Yeah, that chlorine gas, it was pretty nerve-wracking. There was a couple younger kids crying. The Park Service was fantastic.
They say the canyon demands respect.
It does. Yes.
You now have two reasons to respect it.
It's not a theme park.
It could have been worse. I was bummed about the quality of the pictures that we're gonna get. I'm wondering if I can filter that out. But it's so beautiful, and I'd rather come while we could.
They canceled the rafting, which was a huge bummer for my 10-year-old son and the first trip that he can take with his grandmother. It's also really hard to come here after living in LA, is where we're from, and going through those fires.
Back here at the South Rim Lodge of the Grand Canyon, we have a lot of folks still passing through. They're coming from all over the world. In fact, I want to show you a shot of some people here who are just passing by on the sidewalks behind us. This is one of the many beautiful walkways along the rim of the Grand Canyon, so people can still bike along the rim and make the walks. But it's so smoky, and it really got a lot worse just in the last 2 or 3 hours. A new incident management team is on this fire. They were brought in here overnight to potentially bring in hundreds of more firefighters if needed. Right now, they have about 300 or so on the fire. And we'll have more on strategy coming up from Bram Resnick in just a bit. But again, here from the South Rim Lodge, everything's still open, but for hikers, it's limited, and of course, can't get down to the bottom. Back to you.
Yeah, that is a bummer for visitors there. All right, Joe, thank you so much. Now, the Dragon Bravo fire isn't the only one that crews are battling in the area. 35 miles away, the White Sage fire continues to grow, now burning more than 49,000 acres near the Grand Canyon. The fire, also caused by lightning last week, is still 0% contained. Mandatory evacuations remain in effect, and the North Rim of the Grand Canyon National Park is closed for the rest of the season. Fire officials say that containment efforts are ongoing, but it could be days before they gain the upper hand.
Tonight, crews are also battling the Billy Fire, 15 miles south of Young, Arizona. Tono National Forest officials say it's burned 750 acres since Friday. This fire also caused by lightning. No word yet on how much containment crews have.
All right. Well, given that these fires are 0% contained, let's bring in meteorologist Lindsay Riley with a look at the conditions that crews are facing. Lindsay?
Well, we have gusty winds, very low relative humidity. Some good news is that storm chances will be going up this week. We even had a few showers in the vicinity of the Grand Canyon this afternoon. You can see some light activity on the radar right now. These will die die down as we get closer to the sunset hours, but we will have more heading into the next couple days. 20% chance Tuesday, Wednesday, increasing to a 50% chance Thursday, and then drying out as we get closer to the weekend. This is the statewide map, so we're looking at a pretty good soaking rainfall, especially up in the high country and southeastern Arizona. Areas in blue, that's over a half of an inch of rainfall. Lower deserts also going to get in on some of this storm activity. Wednesday and Thursday look to be the best bet. Out on the fire lines the rest of this evening, wind speeds will start to come down. Temperatures dropping off into the 70s by 8 p.m. Tomorrow on the warm side, getting close to 90 degrees by 1 p.m. Gusts will be in the range of 20 to 30 miles per hour. A couple isolated afternoon storms, but it looks like those storm chances near the Grand Canyon will peak on Thursday. Mark?
Linz, thanks. New tonight, Arizona's top elected officials are demanding to know why fire managers waited several days to attack the wildfire that destroyed a historic landmark at the canyon.
12 News journalist Bram Resnick spoke with one critic who says that the wildfire plan was like playing Russian roulette with potentially explosive weather. Bram?
Yeah, Caribe Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs, along with Senators Ruben Gallego and Mark Kelly, are calling on U.S. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, who oversees national parks, to investigate how the fire was managed. A former natural resources advisor to a Republican governor says it's the right thing to do.
I don't know how you look back and say the right decisions were made.
Kurt Davis was a natural resources policy advisor under Republican Governor Fife Symington and a wildland firefighter.
Not managing a lightning strike fire near an irreplaceable asset like the lodge at the North Rim, to me, was just a tragic mistake.
The flawed strategy, according to Davis, was trying to contain the lightning strike fire on July 4th, rather than extinguishing it.
You're playing Russian roulette at that point.
The historic Grand Canyon Lodge was at risk. So were dozens of other buildings. Days later, when the inevitable winds kicked up,
moves fast at night because we've had several blow-ups. They had one originally on the 11th and again on the 12th.
those blow-ups devoured the lodge and shut down the canyon. Now, Governor Katie Hobbs and U.S. Senators Ruben Gallego and Mark Kelly are calling on Interior Secretary Doug Burgum to investigate what happened.
Because we need to learn from these things and quit making the same mistake.
Kurt Davis says elected officials calling for an investigation is the right thing to do. Any fault, he says, doesn't lie with firefighters on the front lines.
They need prayers and respect. This is a public policy discussion. This has nothing to do with the job they've done.
Now, I've requested a response from the U.S. Department of the Interior, but have not heard back. Governor Katie Hobbs' spokesman says she'll be meeting with leadership at Interior and the U.S. Forest Service in coming days to emphasize the need for a thorough investigation. Bram Resnick, 12 News.
Bram, thanks.